Welcome everybody here to another Street Fighter V seminar with your boy Brolylegs. I don't really like saying your boy Brolylegs, but it is kind of like the meme, so I might as well say it. Let me go into training mode right off the real quick, so we can start it. Today we're going to be talking about frame data, the dreaded frame data. People don't like talking about frame data. Let me actually turn this off before. I was playing ranked in the morning, so just trying to get the juices, uh, Kappa, the juices flowing. I hope he's letting here in the chat. Um, and so yeah, we're gonna be talking about frame data and how to recognize it, how to use it, how to see it, and how to apply it. In different scenarios, not just neutral, not just anything like that. I'm actually gonna go Bison because Bison is probably the one that is the easiest to do. Yeah, I think I'll go Bison. I honestly should like plan these videos out a little bit better so you can get an idea. We'll put Ken because we got a Ken fan in the chat, so we're gonna put a Ken in here and try to see what he does. V triggers really don't matter too much. They will come into play during the lesson, um, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Before I begin, I will like that. Most of my streams I do post them to YouTube. So if you have a question during the session, during the seminar, um, during any part of this video, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I look at all my comment section. I answer every question I can. If they're troll, obviously probably not, but still, anytime you guys, because here the reason why I do these things is to help the next generation, is to help the current generation, right? People that want to learn fighting games, not just Street Fighter, but fighting games in general. Street Fighter 6 is probably on the horizon, so it's a good time to jump in and get acclimated with fighting games. If you are nervous or you feel like, maybe you're too scrubbish, we all started somewhere and we all started, scrubby, so it's okay. Ask questions. These are all free. Like these videos are not locked by a paywall. These are all take advantage of this. This is what I do for a living. Well, side job, but still as a living, is teach people Street Fighter. So, if you have the ambition to learn and want to get better at fighting games, please use this as ways to do it. I do. This is my third seminar. I need to group them up in my YouTube channel. But again, like I said, this will be going in the comment section. If you see this, please at me. You can DM me on Twitter. You can DM me on Instagram, I guess, whatever, wherever you want to just find me. Even in the chat and Twitch, find me, ask questions. I will be more than happy to answer. I won't be answering questions right now during the seminar. So if you're in the chat, wait till afterwards. I'll definitely leave some time afterwards if people have questions. But let's get into it. Frame data, frame data, frame data, frame data. How to use frame data. Okay, these are the first three tools that you want to be putting on. Key display, no, key display is actually pretty good. You want these on to help you out, especially frame advantage and color. Now this one's kind of like yes and no. It helps those that want to really see and flesh out what's positive and what's negative. If you see me in blue, I'm positive. If you see me in red, I'm negative. And we're gonna talk about what that means, positive and negative, right? This is not a science class. I promise you, it's not. It's not science. It's just kind of it's the same kind of representation, but it's just applied in a different way. Uh, for now, we're gonna have the dummy just block off. We're gonna have him just block off. We're not gonna really have anything to do. Um, we're not gonna have him do anything crazy or anything like that. It's just gonna be guard off for now. It's not gonna stay that way, but for now we're gonna keep it like that. Recovery doesn't matter. For now, no recovery. Counter hit is off or normal. Stun, no. Okay, let's get into it. So the reason why I picked Bison is because he kind of explains the frame data so well compared to a lot of other characters. And this is applied to everybody. Don't get me wrong. I could have picked any character and done this. Bison's probably the best one to show it with, though. But we're gonna go and talk about what it means to be negative and positive and what that means. Now, the first thing I want you guys to remember is you have your two. I'm gonna try to show every normal, except I don't think I have. No, I should have everything. Okay, jab, and you're gonna see me red because it's whiffing. So in retrospect, because I'm whiffing a move, I can be hit, and because I can be hit, that puts me in. That's like that's a negative disadvantage. So you're gonna see me red a lot, but for whiffing. So you got your light, medium, heavy. You got your light, medium, heavy. Okay, those are all standing. You can guess the crouching ones as well, but whatever. Rule or lesson one. This is like I'll be kind of putting this in bold. Like think of it in bold letters, or I'll say like this is very important. Whenever I say this is very important, this is probably something you want to write down. This is very important. Most lights are positive. Okay, most lights, not all. Most lights, and I'm gonna show that right now. Look at the color that bison turns into. Blue. That's why I said most, right? This is actually negative, but this is blue. So you can kind of see when you're positive and when you're negative. Okay? Negative, positive. What does that mean? We'll get into that eventually, but we're going to first talk about normals and how to apply it. Okay. Second, mediums are mostly negative. Not always, but mostly negative. Again, just like kind of like the light stuff, right? It's just so you can see this is positive. This is positive. Let's go with the crouching. Crouching light kick is actually positive. Crouching jab is actually positive as well. Let's do the mediums. Crouching middle punch is positive. Crouching middle kick is negative. Very interesting. Okay. Now let's go on to the heavies. Now, heavy attacks are mostly negative. Mostly negative. Mostly. Um, I kind of it's kind of like one of those things where lights are on the one side. They're mostly positive. Mediums are kind of like in the middle of the spectrum. They're just it just depends on the character. But I will say before I move on to actually heavies, mediums are mostly safe, and that's going to be another word we're going to be talking about that, and I'll definitely highlight that word safe. But let's just finish off with these normals first. Okay. Heavies are mostly negative and punishable. Negative. Well, I'll go into the numbers in a bit. We'll talk about the numbers. But now this is a big difference. Bison's heavy kick is positive. Okay, this is kind of one of those things why I picked Bison. Because he does show off frame data a little bit better than most. Okay, let's try the crouching. Negative 11. Oof. Negative 12. Big oof. Those are big negatives. Okay, and we'll get into numbers again right in a bit. But as you can see, lights are mainly positive. Mediums are generally yes and no, like depending on the character, depending on what you find. This is a good way to test your character out whenever you go into it, to try this training mode on, see what's positive and negative. And heavies are mainly negative and punishable. Now let's go over those things. And I kind of should have gone over these terms. So another very important part, this is very important. There are 3 terms when it comes to frame data. And this is mainly on block. So like if you ever pull up an app, or if you look it up on a website, for, frame data for your character, you're gonna see on hit, on block, and we'll get onto on hit, on block eventually. But mainly we're just focusing on block. And the three terms that are very important is plus, safe, punishable. I'll repeat those three terms. Either you're gonna be plus, you're gonna be safe, or you're gonna be punishable. So, just to kind of explain that real quick. Plus, safe. This is safe. This is punishable. Now, how do we determine what's what? Okay. So, whenever you're playing Street Fighter, the first thing you learn when it comes to frame data is know that the quickest move in the game is a 3 frame. This is a 3 frame move, I believe. I believe it's 3 frame. I'm pretty sure it's 3. Anyways, the fastest move in the game is 3 frames. For the one big exception is Zangief Super. Zangief Super is actually 2 frames. It's not 3. It's 2. So there are some things, but we'll get into it. Okay. So when we talk about what's safe, I want you to look at you see the frame data bar right under my health bar. Okay? You'll see the word frame. You see a 0 and then in parentheses 0. Now it's going to be winding down because it's counting all the frames of that animation. So you really can't see that number. But can you see what's in the brackets? Or in the parentheses? -2. So what does that mean? That means that this move on block is -2. What did we go over? Unless it's Zangief. Can this be punished? No. But am I positive? No. So where does that put that move? Let's put it in the safe department. Or safe. Here. It's nothing positive. It's not positive. It's negative, but it's not punishable. So you put in the safe column. So this is very important. And remember when I say that, you want to write this down. This is very important. Most things that are -1, -2, 0 are just safe. You're safe. Okay? You're safe. Now, there's what that means is that because you're safe means you can't get punished. But that doesn't mean that you can't keep pressing the button. I can't just keep doing this. I can't become active. Most of the time when you're safe, but you're negative, it's not gonna be your turn anymore. It's gonna be your opponent's turn. It's not his. So if I do something like this, I know that I'm poking him, but I know it's his turn. And we'll get into turns eventually. But for now, just know when you're negative, stop. Don't do anything. Okay? Because even though you're safe, if you keep going, you're gonna get punished. Okay? Alright. Actually, I should just restart the battle. Okay. Now, let's talk about positive before we go into punishable. This is +3. This jab. Okay? What does plus and minus actually mean? What does it really mean when it comes to frame data? What it means is the moment that block ends, or the moment I hit him with this move on block, I am now 3 frames faster. than him, or I am not faster. I am 3 frames ahead of him. In other words, he's still in recovery while I'm already recovered 3 frames. So if we were to both do a 3 frame after he blocks, he's gonna get hit. Why? Just because we're in the same frame data, I'm a little bit ahead of him because he still had to recover from the jab, from the block. So now I'm ahead of him. Okay? And because I'm ahead of him, that allows me to say, well, I can continue. Now, how does this end? Well, you could see, well, Broly, if you keep being positive, when is it my turn? The thing you have to understand about Street Fighter in general is, well, fighting games in general, is whenever you block something, you push them away. You see how they're getting pushed away? Eventually, I can't reach anymore. Now, I could do this whole... I can do all that, but you see how I was negative after that Fierce Punch, right? So after that Fierce Punch, if I don't do anything, I'm negative, I can get hit. So eventually, we want to keep being positive, but we can't because they eventually get too far away. So don't think that you'll never get to press a button. There is some instances, and that'll be at the very end of the session. That's very advanced. But there are instances where I can recover and try to get plus frames back and close the distance. But it's hard. Just remember, when I walk at you, it should show red. I am negative until I stop. I am open to get hit. So don't let this happen to where, and then I walk up and do it again. Right? If you see someone walk forward, they're open to get hit, go ahead and hit them. But again, we'll get into it eventually. Now, let's go into punishables. Sweep. We all know it's a classic. It's a classic punished move. Okay. So if I do Crouching Fierce and you block that, that's negative 11. Let's talk about this. So now I'm 11 frames behind or recovering behind Ken. 11 frames. What does that mean exactly? Okay, this is very important. What this means is you have 11 frames to hit me. And the fastest move in the game is 3 frames, barring from Zangief Super. So what that means is I am open to get hit. I am able to get punished. So you must punish. Now, a lot of times you might be, well, what do I punish with? That kind of goes into another lesson that we won't really talk about today, but I will give you an example. Okay. You want to find a button that is frames less than or equal to 11. Okay. If you have a 10 frame move, it's going to work because I'm negative 11. So you have 11 frames to hit me. So you kind of use that and you try to apply that to what's the best move that you can do. What is the best thing that you can hit me with? And for most characters, if they block this negative 12 move, they can do whatever they want. And usually you look for like the biggest combo you can get. Okay? And I'll try to explain that later on when it comes to punishing. But just for frame data knowledge, you want to be able to punish these things. Negative 6. Right? That's punishable. Crouching middle kick is negative 2, so not punishable. It's safe, but it's your turn. So, whenever you feel like the person is negative, if you don't know, always go into training mode to find out. I don't know how negative this move is. Go find out. Go apply it. Learn it. Okay. All right. Any questions so far while I sip my coffee? um, um, recognizing frame data is one of the most important aspects to get ahead in fighting games. If you don't know, you're gonna be stuck. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go and pull up the sheet and review every single. Now, it helps. I won't deny people from doing it, but take it from me, I don't do this. I'm not the person. I'm not good, or I guess I'm not taught that way. I'm kind of taught by trial and error. I'm taught by, when it comes to, um, I block something, I press a button, did I get hit? Well, shit, I know it's negative. Can't do anything about it. Two Man has a question. Go ahead, Two Man. What's your question? And no troll questions. I will not answer troll questions. Um. So yeah, like a lot of times people learn their different ways, but most of the time, I'll explain pretty much all the negative stuff or all the, frame data terms that you're supposed to see. But like frame data in general, there's startup, there's recovery, um, there's on hit, on block, advantage, disadvantage, um, things of that nature. Um, oh, never mind. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about on hit frame data. So now we're gonna have this man not block anything. All right. Typical players. All right. So what was I when I jab somebody on block? What was I +3? Let's see if that's still the same. +5. Ooh, +5. It's a different number. Now, why is that? Well, typically, I want to say, I'm trying to think if there's anything as an exception. I don't know. I will say I don't know, but I'm going to say 99.9% of all moves that you hit with have better advantage than when they're blocked. I'll just say that. I don't know 100%. I don't know, but whatever. Okay. So, +5. What does that mean now? What does that mean? +5. That means that if I can do another move that is 5 frames, then it'll work. And this is where it's important when you read the frame data chart. This is where startup, you want to look for what the frame is. So if you can find what move it is that's 5 frames, then you know you can get that hit. Standing jab is 4 frames. This is a 4-frame move. That's how fast it comes out. Okay. Does it lose to 3 frames? Yes. Definitely loses to 3 frames. If we press jab at the same time, if he's 3 frames and I'm 4 frames, I'm gonna get hit. But this is just 3 frames. But we know that this on block is negative. So stab jab's better, but this sometimes comes in clutch because you want to get that hit. You want something that it's not punishable, but it is something you want to be careful with. Okay. So see how this is 0? This is not even this doesn't even give me advantage. But we're gonna talk about stand line kick in a bit. But for now, stand jab +5. Okay. Middle punch +6. +6. It went from I think it was like +1 or +2 to +6 on hit. That means I can combo this. But we'll talk about combos at the very end of this section. Fierce punch -1. So it is negative, but it's not punishable. Not like how it used to be -6. Let's do medium kicks. +2. So I can I can poke again without really worrying about anything. Crouching middle kick is -1. Okay. 0 +3 on the light kick crouching. Okay. So you see that combo? Actually, let's just talk about this really quick because I did ask that question. What does it mean? I can combo this now. See that? I mean, it's hard to see, but it's like like hidden behind my frame data box on the left. You can see a number. See 2 hits. Now, because this is 0, this will not combo. I can't combo out of that because I'm not in advantage anymore. I don't have the advantage to do another move. He can block right after that. Right? But I can do stand jab, stand jab. Can I do stand jab, stand middle? No, because I think stand middle punch is 6 frames. I think. Yeah, maybe 7. It might be 7. Because this is +6, so. But I can do, well, if I'm close enough. Let me see. Yeah, middle punch pushes people away. I know the combo, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay. So that does come into play, and this is very important. Remember that term. Whenever I say this is very important, write this down. Even on hit, people move back. Characters move away. So whenever you're looking for a combo, distance matters as well. It's not just numbers. It's not just like, oh, this is 6 frames, I have 6 frames, let me do this move because it's 5 frames. Not always the case. As you can see, my jab is 4 frames. My jab should reach. My jab should combo that because I'm +6. But because of the distance, it doesn't work. So you have to find something else that's something that will reach. So what else reaches? Crouching middle punch. Okay. Now, one of the things that's very hard to do, depending on I guess who you ask, I guess depending on how well you are in fighting games. One of the toughest things to do is to understand the timing of hitting a combo, okay, of hitting a move. Okay, this is my crouching middle punch is 6 frames, right? That means I have to be exactly right on that crouching middle punch, or it will not work. Okay. If I'm a little bit late, I'm gonna try to be late. It looks like I hit him, but did it combo? No. That means I was off. But if you just get practice on it, you can get the timing on that. Easy. Okay. So, same thing with jabs. Jabs are really fast, right? So you gotta know to combo that really fast. Good. Is there any, let's see, crouching middle punches is +3. So what's our 3 frame? Stand light kick. Do that? That's a combo too. Now there is an element that we're missing, and it does stem from specials. We will get into specials soon. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, everyone got the idea of how to punish things, what's punishable, what's on block, what's on negative, things like that. Okay. Crouching Fierce is still -5. So the funny thing about that move is that even though I hit you with it, I can get punished from it by a 5 frame move. So I think like Ken could get hit by that and still DP me because I think his DP starts at 4 frames. Dragon Punch, Shoryuken, whatever. For those that don't know. So this is kind of a funny move, but this is more of his anti-move. This is the anti. You never really want to do it in neutral or anything like that. It's just, dumb. Okay. Now, there is one specific move of Bison that I haven't talked about, and a lot of characters have unique moves. They have their normals, and then they have unique normals. And usually you do unique normals by pressing a direction and a button. So Bison's unique move is the dreaded Paint the Fence, Seiko Axe. And as you can see, on block is +6. And it moves him forward, right? So you just find a 6-frame move. Remember we found one with crouching middle punch, so you get a combo like that. And this is also crush counters. And I know there's a lot of ends. It's plus on block. So I can keep going. Okay. So this is one of those moves that a lot of people see and they're like, oh no, Bison is BS. And so the trick to this, because I could do something like this, watch. Right? And I'll be positive, positive, positive. You might be like, well, what do I do there? If I'm positive, I don't press a button. If I'm positive, I don't, or like I'm behind, I don't press a button. So, but you gotta remember that in frame data, moves have animation set is startup frames. So yes, even though this is positive, there's a big window where I'm at, and that's why you see Bison negative until he hits, because he's red, because you can hit him in there. So to do this is very hard. This is more advanced stuff that we're talking about right now, but this comes a long way when it comes to understanding block strings. So this is a block string, like that's a block string. Nothing you can really do, like you can technically fit an EXDP in the middle of those strings. They're not true block strings. There's block strings and then there's true block strings. What's a true block string? That's a true block string. Well, actually, that's a true block string. Plus 3 into a 3-frame. That's a true block string. What's a true block string is something that connects to each other frame to frame. So there is no gaps. There's no gaps at all. If there's even one frame of gap, that's not a true block string. You can get DP between it. Don't be scared of that. Okay? It is knowledge. It is something you want to know. Right? But it isn't something that you want to be too scared of. And I'll try to show that off before we wrap up this session. Okay? But it is very important to understand what frame data is and how to use, how to understand. So yes, this is all a string. Eventually it ends. Look how far Ken is. Eventually it ends. Most of the time, and this is very important, most strings end at around 3 moves. Sometimes 4. The reason why I say sometimes 4 is because, and this will kind of segue into the next session or next section of this video, is specials. We haven't talked about specials, but a lot of times you can go into a special frame data. So that's your 4th move that you want to press. So if you press a button, if you were to press a button at any moment right here, you're gonna get hit. Any moment after that jab hits, after you block that jab, anytime you press a button, you're gonna get hit. Okay? Then eventually you have to block that, then it's your turn. Once you block that special, then it's your turn. Let's talk about the specials. Now, no, I'll do it. I was gonna show everything, but I'll try to do my best. Basically, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take away the critical gauge. If people know me, they know that I don't have a heavy button. I have the three punches, 3 kicks. They will always produce EX for me. So I don't have a like a raw heavy special cancel. So like I do have heavy punch and heavy kick, but if I input the moves, they'll always do EX because it's all three buttons. But so I had to take the meter off to show you guys. So I'm gonna start off by doing that. So every move, every special, also goes alongside with on block and on hit frame data. Okay, this is your heavy ball +2, heavy ball +2. But look how slow that was. This is medium, and this is light. Okay, -1, -2, and +2. Those are all the three different ball forms that he has. In other words, he's mainly safe. He's only positive with heavy. Heavy is kind of like the long one. So if you really feel like you blocked something that took a while, then don't press a button. The other ones you can. Most of the time you're not gonna fight the heavy one. You could if you cancel it off of like that. Then you don't want to press a button. So that's something you want to be careful with. Core time. Okay. I'm not trying to. I'm not ignoring the chat. This is mainly just whenever we do seminars, it's mainly just talking. So don't think I'm ignoring anybody in the chat. I'm not ignoring anybody. Okay. So another special that Bison has, out cycle ball. This is scissor kick. This is light scissors, -4. Remember that. -4, is that punishable? Yes. This is medium, -3. Is that punishable? Yes. Uh, okay, let's go for heavy. -2. So, Bison is punishable on 2 out of those 3. So, you're always safe to go for a jab. You're always safe to go for like a 3 frame. It's your turn. Whenever you block a normal scissor kick, you don't have to be scared. Whenever they're negative, it's your turn. Go ahead and do something. Now, what you do in response to that, it's really up to the character. I can't be specific about these things, but if I were to block something negative, I'd go for some like a block string myself. So I usually do like something like that. Some kind of string that creates distance so that you can go back to playing footsies. That's mainly the what I'm looking for. Okay. We also have Psycho Inferno. -12. Well, I didn't even see that. -11. Alright. EX is -1. And heavy is -10. So guess what? You block Inferno, punish that. Bleep. Okay? Punish it. Now, EX is -1. We're going to go into EXs in a bit. Just wanted to show you guys all the different normals before I go turn on EX again. Okay? And it's the same thing when it comes to on hit and on block. The difference is with Bison, it's not going to carry over. You're not going to hit an EX move and continue it. Other than EX Psycho Ball, I'll show that actually right now. I already showed off all the meters, so let's go ahead and just wait. What the? Okay, so unless you hit EX Ball, well, I'm supposed to put it on hit. Well, actually, let's show off all the EXs in negative. So we did EX -1. That's -1. Positive with -1. It's your turn. EX scissors is actually +1. Not your turn. You block EX, it's not your turn. Okay, the normal ones you can press a button. When it's EX, don't press a button. And EX ball +7 for me. So as you can see for Bison, this is not a general. I should actually note this down. This is very important. EX moves depend on the character. This is where you really go searching. Some characters are plus on block with their EX moves. Some are very punishable. Some are not punishable. It's very character specific. Okay. If I block Bison's EX Scissors, I'm positive. If I block Ken's EX Tatsu, he's punishable. So there's different ways, different things you have to look up. These are the ones you have to look up. Very character specific things. The EX ones. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and put guard off. Now it does matter, you know, if you have it on. There's different properties for when they hit. This, you get, it's just a knockdown. This EX Scissors is a knockdown. Okay, and EX Ball the only one that you can combo off of. You can combo off of that. That's it. I don't think you can do anything else with that. Can't. It doesn't like combo with everything. I think it only combos with that. Let me try something. Nah, I'm trying to do like scissors right after that. But no, usually you just do EX Ball. You get Psycho Axe right after that and combo. Okay. Any questions before I move on? These give me a chance to get some coffee before it gets too cold. So, um, just to summarize this, you know, just for what we've covered so far. Whenever you're blue, whenever you're positive, you could continue on. You can keep going forward. You can keep pressing buttons when you're positive. When you're safe, negative. Whenever you're negative, you don't. You don't want to throw punishable moves too much, right? Like Bison, -6. Some characters can punish it at a distance. Some characters can't. Just because a character is -6 doesn't mean that you can punish it because distance matters, right? Do you have the ability to punish that move? Does your normal reach that far? Does your 6-frame move or less reach him? The thing you're gonna find out playing this game or playing most games is that lights don't reach that far. So your faster moves don't reach. Most of the time when you want to punish things from a distance, it's gonna be with your medium or heavy. But are they 6 frames? Can they get there in time to punish them? Yes or no? Right? So it's one thing to see it and it's one thing to know. But then how do you apply that? How do you use that knowledge? Hey, he's negative, but is it punishable? Yes. Can I punish it? Yes, then do it. Execute. Is it punishable? Then you just ask yourself that question every single time. Whenever I'm playing a match, and I will show a review match before I finish it. We will review a match and kind of break it down. And you'll understand that there's different scenarios that have pop up in my mind every single time. Am I positive? Am I negative? Is he punishable? Is he not? Is he safe? You know, can I press a button here? Yes or no? All those things come to mind. Now, it might seem a lot. It might be very uh, overwhelming, but it eases off in time. There are things that you can do without even thinking too much. If I block a sweep, I know how to punish it without thinking. Just know it just comes you know, as a reflex. So things can get better in that sense. Just have to know how to use it. Okay? Punishing is one of the main keys when it comes to how do I get out of bronze and silver and gold. Learn to punish. Okay. You start punishing, things get so much easier. Okay. Now, the next lesson we're gonna talk about. Whoops. Is well, actually, before we finish this off, I want to go over V trigger. Um, everybody knows, right? When I swept, what was I? Well, that was actually -8. This is -12. Again, that does matter. Distance does matter. If I do it from far away, that's -7. If I do it from further away, that's -4. I think I can make it safe. That's -3. That's probably the best you can get. It's -3. Because there is distance, and there is recovery, and there is um, active frames. So whenever you have active frames going on, that means that eventually, like, it has a window of when it can hit and then when it stops. And when it stops is part of like the recovery of the move of the animation. So he has that all that line to where he's sliding until he recovers, and because he still hits at the last frame, he's not recovering all those in bulk like he was earlier. That's why this is -12, because he's still sliding versus here where he's at the end of his slide. Okay, that's why it's -4 there. So just because you block a move doesn't automatically mean, oh, this is negative. Like the number 12. It's not -12 all the single every time. Most cases are. When it comes to standing normals that don't move, most cases are. Right? For example, scissors. -3. But if I space it out, oops. Like, it will change, or it will be a little bit different. You get like certain like range of it. You know? Maybe not with scissors too much, but like for I think like what? If I do X ball from here, look at my, I can do certain moves. Doesn't really show. That's probably one of the frame data stuff. It doesn't really show very much. Is when you like it only activates or captures it when you're on block, but it doesn't understand that like I'm moving, so I can do other stuff. So like technically, I should be like plus like 20 instead of just +7 or whatever it shows. But anyways, distance does matter. Not all the time. Probably not most of the time. Like, it's probably a small handful of moves that does matter, that makes it matter. But there are characters that have those kind of moves. Chun has one of those moves, forward heavy kick. You can alternate the frame data depending on where it hits, uh, because of distance. But again, that's very advanced stuff. We won't have to worry about that too much. Okay. So we were talking about featuring. So again, you saw that this was -12 or 11 or whatever, right? Very punishable move. How do we make it? What if we activate V trigger? Now, the way that V trigger works is that in most cases it works whenever you activate it on a block or hit. So I can do, and I can activate, right? We're gonna do reset a lot. Okay, I can do middle punch, activate, right? +7. Okay, +4. You see that? You see how dumb this is? Okay. Let me. There it was negative. So if he does it automatically, he'll be +4. So what V trigger is doing is it's canceling all that recovery frame, right? Until the animation ends. So instead of you having or Bison having to do the whole slide and the whole recovery, he's canceling that by activating V trigger. Most characters have this. and it is specific. Like you can't activate off of every normal. There are some normals you can't, like you can't activate it. Oh wait, you can't. um, what's one that he can't? Oh, I want to maybe. Oh, that worked. Oh, that worked too. Oh, maybe Bison one that does have them all. You can even activate V trigger off of specials. So I could do like scissors. Okay, this is one of them. Okay, V trigger one you can activate off of scissors. V trigger two you can't. Okay, so you can just continue doing stuff like that. I did forget to mention this. Dash is part of the frame data thing. There is a pretty much a startup. Now it doesn't hit you, so it doesn't hit people. So there is no on block or on hit, but he does. He is in animation. Good morning, bicycle. He is in animation. So when he does do his dash, you can punish that. Now the problem with Bison's is that he does disappear for a bit, but right when he reappears, you can hit that. Very specific window, very specific frame. You can hit this move. So it's not something that you know have to be like, oh, I can't do anything. Like I have to wait for something on hit. A lot of times, people will be doing that. You see how this is a positive move? In your mind, you're like, okay, well, this is a positive move. I'm blocking a positive move. I shouldn't press a button. So a lot of times, Bison will throw a dash right there and go for a throw because they know in the mind game sense of it all that you can just go into throw. Okay, that you're not gonna press a button there, so you can just go for a dash up throw. So don't. There's gonna be times, and this kind of goes into what I want to talk about right now is when do you press a button? I think the biggest scare and the biggest question would be is okay, I block something that's +3 that's really close to me. What do I do if this happens? What do I do there when I can't press a button, but I'm in throw range? So if I don't press a button, what do I do? And this particular lesson, it's kind of you have to learn. Um, you have to learn through experience what players like to do. What are the tendencies? If you're in this position, like let me break it down. Let me break it down to you guys this way. Okay. Well, I drink my coffee. Okay. So whenever you're in this position, this is the bad position. There's percentages. Whenever you play a fighting game or whenever you're in a match, let's just focus in on Street Fighter 5. Whenever you're in a match, there are outcomes that you shouldn't be in, and like most of the time. Whenever we start the game this far apart from each other. Okay. Now, there's not always going to be a spot, or you're not gonna find yourself in that position at a lot of times, or like at a high percentage. Okay, you're not gonna be able to just be stuck that close to Beyond. Thank you so much for the follow. You're not gonna be able to see this and visualize like, hey, I'm gonna be in this position every single time, so I'm scared. No, this is something that he earns, that Bison quote unquote earns, because there is ways that he can just get in there, but you're not gonna be caught in this position too many times. This is what I'm trying to say. You should not be caught with Bison hovering over you that much. Now, the ways he can do it is if he slides at you, if he goes for a meaty. This is why recovering off the ground is very important. If you ever get knocked down, uh, if you get knocked down, let me take off guard. for just a second. I could be standing right above you, right? If you don't recover, I'm gonna be standing right above you. But if you recover, I like I could chase you down, but it's a position. It's like something you don't want to put yourself in too many times. You want to avoid that. Obviously, sweep is one of the things that you look out for Bison. You don't want Bison to sweep you. If he does, then it's problems. If you block it, you can punish it. So don't be too scared about situations when you're that close. But what you should do, just to answer your question, okay? Well, let me go back to All Guard. You could walk away, but then you open yourself to that. Like there's answers to everything. What you should be doing is, if you think I'm at this range and your mind says I think he's gonna throw, then you should do a delay throw. And what I mean by that is kind of like, you just delay it by a couple frames because you still want to block. Like your first position is to block all that. That's your first position. You should not waver from that. Okay? A throw, if I throw you, I can't recover. I'm not gonna get to you in time. This is where the term "take the throw" comes from. It's because I just do 140 damage from this throw. If you were to not take this throw and you were to say I'm too scared, I'm gonna press a button, or I'm gonna try to disrupt that throw off the stand jab, you can take a lot of damage here. So sometimes it's okay to take the throw. Another thing you can do is right when you block that, you can backdash. Okay, you can backdash, or you can jump and you can avoid the throw. Jumping, as long as you're in airborne frames, throws won't work. So that's why backdash is good, because you're airborne for a little bit. You can just do that right when you block. Very hard to do, but you can. Another thing you can do is just DP. Right? You block this, you can just EXDP right through it. Because it's not a true string, you could DP through it. But again, there are different options and there's different scenarios. You have to really understand how your opponent works. A lot of times I just kind of let the throw happen and I learn from it. If I get thrown a couple times, then I know it's a high percent chance that the next time we're in that spot, he might go for a throw, so I gotta do it. It's all percentages. You're gonna play percentages a lot when you're dealing with this character. Or not character, but just in those situations in this game. When a person is this close to you, that means that they have advantage, because now you're at their mercy. You don't know what they're gonna do, and that brings me to uh meaties. Okay, let's talk about meaties. Okay, and I wish I could just pause it with just the frames, but whatever. Whenever there's meaties involved, I get the first attack. Now I have to time it. Stand jab's actually kind of hard to do. So you want something with more active frames. So like stand heavy kick, right? And it also crush counters. Okay, stand heavy kick is a very good meaty tool because you're positive no matter what from it. It's a crush counter move if they press a button, and it allows you to continue your string. So a lot of times you can do something like that, right? This will be on YouTube, Gregory. Yes, you can follow me at youtube.com/Brolylegs. So yes, I will have this uploaded right after this. So anyways, cause I know I streamed this a little early. Um. So anyways, when it comes to meaties in this situation, the only reason that you don't want to do heavy kick is because after you do heavy kick, you lose the throw threat. So if they block this, it's kind of like, okay, they can rest now, they can chill. So one way to kind of use that is to meet with jab, but it's a little harder to do. So I can keep doing this with that jab, right? And so let's talk about this. Right, we got a plus frame move right here. Most meaties, you want to do a plus frame move. You don't want to do something that's negative. You do something that's negative, you're gonna get bodied for it. Like if I go for a meaty slide, one, it's hard to hit, and two, it's just dumb because they can just punish you. It's still negative two, right? Just because it's a meaty doesn't mean it's safe. No Skizzle, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. And so whenever you're in this position, you don't you want to make sure that you can sustain a positive string. You want to be positive. Okay, so usually jabs are good. That heavy kick is good. Psycho Axe is good. Your plus frame normals, those are all good moves. So things that are not good, punishable, or negative moves because then it's their turn. Now, the one thing I'm not talking about real quick with Bison because I don't know. I know how to do this with Chun better, but when a meaty is done, you actually get more frame advantage when they're getting up than when they're not. I'm gonna try to +5. There we go. Okay, this is normally +3. Normally this is +3, but let me do a +5. Oh, a little hard. We'll try to. Oh, that was +3 again. Let me do a couple more tries. +5. Why did that change? Why did that change? The reason why is because, again, in the frame data, you're going to see active frames. And what's happening is that Bison is hitting you on an active frame later than what he normally hits you with. Like, there's no way to alternate that here. Right? The hitbox is right there. I'm throwing a move. The hurt box is there as well. So they're going to collide at the first initial point. Okay? And so when you initialize this move, you can make yourself know that I can use that variance to utilize that situation. So I can make things that are usually +3, +5 now. That's the beauty of meaties in this situation. Is that you use your frames. If you have some things that have big active frames, you can time it. Now again, it's timing. It takes time, and that's why a lot of people do these weird setups because they want to make sure that they're as plus as possible. Okay. And so, what does that mean? Well, now that I'm +5 instead of +3, I have access to more scenarios. So let me get the math stuff out of here. Okay. When I'm +5, I'll ask this question. I'll give you guys a couple, seconds to answer, but and I'll reveal the question or the answer. Okay. So we know how fast moves are. What's the fastest move in the game? Yada yada yada. Okay. If I knock someone down as a meaty, and I do a +5 frame, when's the next time? How many frames do I have to play with if my opponent wakes up with a 3-frame move? If he blocks my meaty, and I'm +5, and he decides to jab, how many frames do I have before I can hit him? I'm gonna drink my coffee and then I'll answer that question. Alright. So the question was, if I'm +5 and my opponent presses a button, a 3-frame button, how many frames do I have to play with? The answer is 7 to 8. And the reason why it's 7 to 8 is because the reason why is because I'm already 5 frames ahead. So that means there's nothing you can do. If I decide to do a 5-frame move, he won't even get to press a button. He won't even try. He can't even. The animation won't even show. He has to take it. Okay? But you don't want to do something that's less than or equal to the frames. You want to play with it because you want them to press a button. Remember what true strings are, right? Now, let me show you real quick what true strings are. True strings, again, that's a true string. Okay? That's a true string right there. That means there's no gaps. There's no gaps that he can do anything about. So even if he was mashing jab, it's not going to come out. That's always going to hit him. Or that's always going to make him block. He's going to end up blocking no matter what. That's a true string. I don't want a true string though. I want him to try to press the button because I want to be able to hit him. Now the reason why, before I reveal this, the reason why that I don't do this is the reason why it's 7 to 8, because in this game there is a priority system. What does that mean? Priority system means that there's light, medium, heavy. And the higher the strength of the move, the higher the priority when we clash. So let's just say, just to make it simple, I have a 5-frame light and my opponent has a 5-frame medium. We both hit it at the same time. Who wins? His medium. Because in the priority system, mediums beat lights. Okay? So that's why I said between. Because if we do the same button, then we'll collide. And the same strength will collide. But if we do the same, if he does a 3-frame, but I do a medium, that's 7 frames, my medium's gonna beat him clean. Okay? Or actually 8 frames, sorry. Anyway, let's go into the true strings as block strings again. But this time with a little twist. We're going to set up the guard recovery. Okay, we're going to set up the guard recovery. We'll do interval of 1. Okay. I didn't get to do it. Let's do it again. I wanted to say recovery. There, or reversal, I'm sorry. Reversal. Reversal is really important. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that reversal is literally the first frame that you can press a button. It's literally the first frame. So once that block stun ends, the first frame is recorded, and you can input a move. That means the earliest thing you can do is jab. Okay. I don't even know if that's his 3-frame. I don't know. Okay. So if I make him block, he'll jab me back. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys the difference. If I do a true string, he couldn't press a button in between that, right? Look at the two moves that I do. Whoops. There's nothing he can block, right? He is supposed to attack the moment he blocks something. But because it's a true string, he can't. But what if I don't do a true string attack? What if I don't do a move as a true string attack? Just leave it there. What if I just don't do a true string attack? Then it doesn't happen, doesn't work. And I'm gonna show you. See how he got hit? That's a hit. Let's play with this a little more. That's a hit. Because there's a gap that he can press a button, there is not much he can do. There's really not much he can do. He has to block these things. This is why it's very important that you have to block these moves. Now, if you don't, you're gonna get hit. This is the same thing. +1, right? That's a string, that's a hit. Yes, you have the chance to press a button, but you can't do it right away. Okay? And this is why strings matter. This is why being positive in a string matters. Because if a person attacks, if a person leaves their guard down one time, if their defense is down, they can get hit. Okay? Alright. I'm going to take a breakfast intermission, so you guys just chill out. The lesson's not done. I'll make sure to edit this out. But yeah, if you have questions, put in the chat. I will be right back. And yeah, just we got a couple more things to do. We're gonna talk about jump-ins in the next part of this video. So stick around, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, we are back. Sorry about that little intermission, but we'll we'll continue the lesson on frame data. Um Going back to what we were talking about with block strings and that nature. Um that what I displayed right before I left is pretty much the focal point on all it really means about learning frame data. If you're not sure, if you press a button when you're not supposed to, you're gonna get hit. But don't let that fear you, or don't let that confuse you. It's not an exact science when it comes to strings, okay? I'm gonna explain this in the best way I can, okay? Alright. Right? I do a string, you press a button, I get hit, you get hit. Okay? But what if I just do something like that? Or I actually just walk up to you. You know, want to go for a throw, right? Let's say I want to go for a throw. See that? Now, I could just do something like this simply. I could just do stand jab, stand middle punch. Okay? But there are times where I might switch it up and say, nah, you know what? I don't want to do that. I'll go for jab into throw. Okay? And this is, again, where you hear it a lot, is take the throw. Is there's just times where it's a direct 50-50 what might happen because of the position I'm in. It's a really just a 50 get, you know, you're gonna take the throw or you're gonna take the hit. And you usually want to take the lesser of two evils. You don't want to take something big like this, okay? What's worse, taking into throw, which does that much damage for Ken? Or is it worse to take that damage for Ken? Right? So, you have to pick and choose your battles. You have to pick and choose when you want to go for attacks. You know, things like that. Now, there is an answer. There's actually a couple answers. Let's go over one answer. So let's go to recovery. And let's do start recording. Missed it. Let's try it again. It's a little bit too... Okay, this time I talk too much. I'm missing it just slightly. I'll do it. Give me 1 second. This is why I'm not a DP kind of person. There we go. Reversal uppercut. As reversal EX uppercut. Alright, let's go ahead. I think it'll be on. Alright. Cool. So let's go ahead and do that scenario one more time, right? And there is the counter to the block strings we were talking about. Now, you need the meter to do it. These DPs aren't free. They're not something that you can access and just do normal. If you do normal ones, I think the worst is that you'll trade. Or the best you can do is trade. Worst is that you'll just lose cleanly. So if I do a string,